Michael Jordan that no one could stop. Everybody always could say the comparison with him and LeBron and everything. His limit, his ceiling is high.
When Michael Jordan shot the ball, you thought every shot he shot it was going in. The man shot 51% in the playoffs. So his game went up even higher, man. Like you played against, like I watched Michael having a tough one tonight and he hadn't got it going, and you look at the thing he got 31. He's struggling tonight. I tell you what, with 30, playing for the Nets, we played him in the first round in the playoffs. First game I swore was going to be on, every ball cross. German Douglas fires up a 3 and short, and the Bulls cheering are going to win it. Second game he had like 24 points. Game 3 in the Meadowlands in New Jersey, that expletive, looked at me and said, "Yo, where you going on a vacation at?" I was like, laughter. Fuck you. I'm going. This game going to game 4. Man, that man had like 23 in the first quarter. Jordan left open for the 3 and he's got the Bulls. Jordan with a fake on, terrific group. Michael Jordan working his way in the lane and hits. Jordan with a fake on Harris and a fall away. Michael Jordan. The GOAT debate has been raging for decades, and somehow it's more intense today than ever before. Every generation has its favorite player. Every fan base has its arguments. Some point to championships. Others point to longevity, statistics, influence, or competition. And no matter how many debates happen on television or social media, the conversation always seems to circle back to the same question. Who is the greatest basketball player of all time? What's fascinating is that the loudest voices in the debate are often the people who never shared the court with these players. Meanwhile, the men who actually had to guard them, compete against them, and experience their greatness up close often tell a very different story. And when you start listening to those stories, a pattern begins to emerge. Xavier McDaniels, too. I said, "X, you got to do something." Laughter. I said, "X, you got to do something. You got to fight that." I said, "You got to fight him or do something." X say, "Shit, fighting ain't going to help us right now." Expletive. We down 30.5. So you and KG serve Mike. They didn't serve me. Laughter. We're in Chicago and I had played against Mike 3 times head up. So KG had never seen me play against Mike. We're in the game and I got about 24 going into the fourth quarter. Ryder goes baseline, spins inside, gets it out to Terry Porter, down. Oh, Isaiah Ryder, 2 seconds on the shot clock, 1, and he dunked on everybody. Boy, I'm quiet. I always stay quiet when I play. My talk too much. I mean, if he talked to me I was gonna talk back, but he never talked crazy to me. We just played. We come out of the fourth quarter, KG like, "Man, keep going at his ass. Serve him. He can't guard you." I was quiet. I'm looking at him like, chill, 'cause Mike was literally right there. Again and again, former NBA players describe Michael Jordan as something more than just another superstar. They don't talk about him the way they talk about most Hall of Famers. They talk about him almost like a force of nature, a player who could completely change the feeling of a game in a matter of minutes. One moment, opponents believed they had a chance. The next moment, Jordan had scored seemingly at will, and the game was slipping away before anyone could stop it. That's what makes these stories so powerful. He's like, "Man," he looked at me like, "Man, he can't guard you. Keep going at him." I was like, "He's standing right here, buddy." Laughter. And and KG was like, "I don't care. Keep going at him. Too strong for this dude, man. Too strong for him." I was like, wow. Many players describe entering games with confidence, believing they had the talent, the game plan, and the personnel to compete. Then Jordan would take over and suddenly everything changed. I actually made the mistake and said something. 'Cause J.R. Ryder was having a great game against Mike Jordan. And I wasn't talking expletive to him. I was just gassing JR, and then Mike was like, sitting there like, "You right there, but I ain't getting no foul." A close game became a blowout. A competitive series became a nightmare. What looked manageable on paper became impossible in reality. And it wasn't only the scoring. The players who faced him often point to something deeper. They talk about his mindset, his competitiveness, his ability to turn even the smallest comment into motivation. Mike looked at KG, looked at me. I was like, Mike, he don't know the rules of the game, man. He's just a young expletive. Laughter. You know what I mean. Mike was like, okay, he talking. He looked at me like, okay. I said, what you looking at me like that for, right? Went to the fourth quarter, man. That man got about 17 quick. Looking at KG, looking at me. I said, look, I got to guard that man, not you. KG didn't understand that we don't talk to Mike like that. No, he don't talk. Is if you look at him from his day one, this is what to me makes him the greatest player in the world. He's the only player who came into the league where his weaknesses, when he left the league, were his strengths. Most guys come in with strengths and need to get better at it. So, his ball handler was good, but then it became great. His shot was inconsistent, and then it became indefensible. We had so many pros at the time in the league. So, the pros would be on one end and the college guys would be on the other. We play against the pros. The first game we always believe college against pro, and the second game could be a mix. Playing against the pros and we win. Leon would on a turnover, beating George for 2 more into the despair of the NBA. He's got 24. Jordan play baseline, he lofted it high. And so I'm going to get water and I turn around. This is my freshman and Michael's in the middle of the court, half court with his like hands on his shorts like, yo, what you doing? Oh, I'm letting these motherfuckers know that I'm never leaving this court. I said, oh, that's what we doing. We doing nothing. Laughter, so I said, all right, so we going to let him know we ain't never leaving the court. That's why I love being around him. I'm expletive talker. But when I saw The Last Dance and people were like, oh, he was so hard, I'm like, man, that's what I loved about it. Like you, laughter. Know what I'm saying? Opponents learned quickly that giving Jordan extra motivation was one of the worst mistakes you could make. What made him even more dangerous was that he never stopped evolving. Many superstars enter the league with natural gifts and spend their careers relying on those strengths. Jordan was different. Former players constantly mentioned how he improved every weakness in his game. His handle got tighter. His shot became more reliable. His footwork became unstoppable. His understanding of the game kept growing. Year after year, the version of Michael Jordan that opponents thought they understood became even harder to beat. Michael Jordan ain't the best. He's number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Don't get it twisted. 2 separate three-peats. And he won finals MVP every time. I could give you all kind of stats like him averaging 36 and first-team all-defense and all. And I could give you all of that, but what I just said will never be duplicated. And the man played basketball with his tongue out. Mean to you. No, he wasn't. He actually killed me slowly. He would comment to the coach. He's actually doing a great job out here. And meanwhile, he's pouring at 45. Wait, he's talking to your coaches. Yeah, I remember Chris Ford yelling the whole time like, rookie, get in front of him. Get in front of him. And I'm fronting him on the post and MJ just kind of slowly glides across the floor and he gets the ball and shakes and scores and I did everything the game plan said. And then there's a breaking action. We're sitting there and you know Chris Ford is just down there just hammering me and MJ was like, he's doing a great job, coach. He's actually doing a great job. Meanwhile, he's got 45 on the books. So I was like, yeah. Did you think that Mike didn't want you taken out because he had 45 on the books? Like he wanted you to guard him. Oh, I honestly believe that he didn't think that anybody could stop him. He could score whenever he wanted to score, wherever he wanted to score. So, it didn't matter what I did. More unstoppable though when they get that mindset. Michael or Kobe? Michael. Really? I mean, Kobe put up 81. It's hard to really compare the generations. You know, if you look at what MJ did during his era, like I played in between both those eras and the rules were totally different. Like you can't touch a guy now. You know, a guy will go to the free throw line 20-25 times a game just off of ticky-tack stuff. That's one reason so many former players separate him from almost everyone else in basketball history. And while today's GOAT debate often focuses on comparing Michael Jordan and LeBron James, many former players believe the conversation isn't as simple as comparing statistics or counting appearances. LeBron fan, people think I'm not him. I recognize his greatness, but he ain't MJ. He's not expletive with me. 4-6 is a losing record. What are we celebrating? Mediocrity. Let me ask you a question. What would you rather have? A big dick that works sometimes, 4-6, or an average dick that works all the time, 6-0? People say the dumb expletive like, well, look at the team that LeBron, he took a bunch of bums to the finals. First of all, the Eastern Conference when LeBron was in it was called the LeBron Conference, 'cause it was an easy conference. Number 1. Number 2, when Jordan played in the East, look who he had to get past, the Cavs, the Pistons, the Pacers, the Knicks, the defense was tougher. And keep in mind, Michael Jordan when he came into the league took a bunch of coke-fueled bulls that were bums and lost to the Boston Celtics, who at the time had 5 Hall of Famers. That's the game when Michael scored 63 in Boston Garden, and Larry Bird said he's God disguised as Michael. You don't think Michael Jordan could have took that same Cavs team to the expletive finals with as whacked as the Eastern Conference was? Get the expletive out of here. When you talk about GOAT status, it's more than rings. Rings are a part of it. It's rings, it's stats, it's popularity, how you move the culture, impact. A lot of those other players lacked in other areas where Michael Jordan in totality has it all. They argue that greatness is bigger than numbers. It's about championships, it's about dominance, it's about how feared a player was by opponents, it's about how much a player changed the culture of the sport, and it's about whether a player consistently delivered when the pressure reached its highest level. For many of the players who lived through Jordan's era, that's where his case becomes incredibly difficult to challenge. They remember the playoff runs. They remember the scoring titles. They remember the defensive intensity. They remember watching him take over games when everyone in the building knew exactly who was getting the ball and somehow it still didn't matter. What makes this discussion so interesting is that nobody is denying the greatness of other legends. For players to have played with both MJ and LeBron, how would you compare playing with MJ versus playing with LeBron? LeBron is going to be a little bit more passive-aggressive and see if things are going to work itself out. MJ going to be in your face. Hey man, you going to run a play or what? If not, we going to sit your ass down. Like if you're not doing your job, like hey listen, he gonna tell you in front of everybody. Played with MJ. He was also like low-key like the GM. So, there was one player he was like he went out with Mike, played terrible the next day. Mike's playing great. Mike's like, man, you'd have played better if you wouldn't have been out there partying all night long. He was like, I was kicking it with you. Laughter. Didn't do that. Players across different generations continue to praise stars from every era. They acknowledge the incredible accomplishments, records, and longevity that basketball has seen throughout history. But when the conversation shifts from greatness to the greatest, many of those same voices keep arriving at the same destination. Not because of one statistic, not because of one championship, not because of one unforgettable moment, but because when they combine everything together, the winning, the dominance, the fear he created, the competitive drive, the cultural impact, and the countless stories from players who experienced it firsthand, they believe the answer becomes clear. And that's why after all these years, the GOAT debate still finds its way back to the same conclusion.